welcome back to Perfect 10, the pop culture podcast where we explore the media we love. I'm your host, Michael Cohen. So what exactly is a Perfect 10? It has nothing to do with a review score. A Perfect 10 is a piece of media that resonates with us and hopefully you too. It's about the pop culture that shapes us and why we love it. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Curtis, Dan, Brian, Mark, Sherston, and Brian B. And to all our Patreon supporters, your contributions make this podcast possible. You can head to patreon.com/thunderquack to get early access to Perfect 10, exclusive podcasts, and more. Finish up your pre-show ramen and grab your gold eyeshadow. We're hopping on a jet to South Korea to battle some demons and show you how it's done as we talk KPop Demon Hunters with Amanda Konkin. Amanda, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back, obviously.
Hi, Mike. I'm so pleased to be back. I have to say that your intros have gotten pretty dope. I don't know. That was so corny. I love it so
much. Well, they just like, that's the thing, right? Is that like, this is the deal. Podcasting in and of itself is just, it is as the kids no longer say, but now we say as millennials, cringe. It just like the inherent action of saying I'm gonna do a podcast is cringeworthy. And if that's the case, then
just
like go for
cringe.
it. Yeah, what's the point? And you know, I've been doing this for so long. There's no going back. There's no denying it. There's no like what why would I have any shame at this point? So yeah, no, but there's a great freedom in that because then I am able to do an intro like that and just be embarrassingly cringy. But also if we're gonna talk about K-pop Demon Hunters, especially as you know, middle-aged individuals doing so.
I think, so true.
No, right? I think that like, listen, we're in bad territory anyways. It's obnoxious. But I don't know. I came to you and said, hey, we got to do our sort of annual New Year's Perfect 10 episode here for everybody. And you were like, yeah, I have no idea. Give me a few days to figure something out. And you kind of you tossed like a couple of things. Like you're like, oh, did you do Superman yet? We did. We already did Superman. And then you were like K-pop Demon Hunters, and I was like, yes, that's what I was going to suggest. Nice. If I was basically going to give you like 24 more hours to like come up with something on your own. At which point I was going to go, we're doing K-pop Demon Hunters. That's what we're going to do. So you came to it on your own, and that is just, you know, natural. It's what I expected. But yeah, I mean, like we're just gonna be absolute obnoxious fangirls on this one,
menaces
right?
about it.
Yeah,
and I have to say, I am like a little bit bummed because I for your kids for Christmas thought I really scored with the K-pop Demon Hunters posters, and then you very much one-upped me with awesome shirts that they got for the holidays. And so I'm like jealous that there's no like merch for middle-aged millennials. Like, I don't know, man.
There's not a ton. The whole thing is kind of wild, and we'll get into it because we'll get into the whole pop culture phenomenon aspect of it and why I think that is. But yeah, it's a funny thing because you would have thought, you know, the second that it was a massive hit that they would have wanted to capitalize before Christmas, but these companies are way too slow to move, and basically all there was a few books, some t-shirts, hoodies, and posters. That's really all there was.
This was the year of unexpected hits that just these mass marketing machines are like, wait. You like the wrong thing. We didn't prepare for this at all.
Yeah, of course. You're alluding to what I also expected you to bring for this one, which is Heated Rivalry, which I think, like, here's the thing. Heated Rivalry, let's let it simmer for a little while longer before we do a perfect 10. But it is a perfect 10. Everybody go watch it.
I have to say, Mike, like, that's literally, when you asked me why I said give me a minute, is because it was literally all I could think about. Yeah, and I was I'm not going to suggest this.
You were right in the middle of it. The thing about Heated Rivalry is that it's going to be real hard to release that on a non-explicit feed, which Perfect 10 tends to be safe for the family, right?
That's fair.
So I don't know. We got to figure out. We're gonna have to do like a Perfect 10 After Dark or something like that to talk about Heated Rivalry. But we will get to it. But we're gonna stay in the kid friendly territory with this one with K-pop Demon Hunters. Before we get too much further into it, let me just give everybody the primer on it. If somehow, for some reason, you are the one person who hasn't seen K-pop Demon Hunters and doesn't know what it is, but is listening to this podcast, first off, I don't understand how that happened. Because of all of the things that you could be consuming that is K-pop Demon Hunters related, this is the last thing that you should be. But in the off chance that you have no idea what it is, here's the primer for K-pop Demon Hunters. K-pop Demon Hunters is a 2025 animated feature film from Sony Pictures Animation, directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans, from a screenplay co-written with Danya Jimenez and Hannah I don't know how to pronounce this. McMeechan?
That's what I would say.
The film follows Huntrix, 3 young K-pop idols at the top of the charts, as they wage a secret war against the forces of evil led by the demon King Guima. On the precipice of sealing the Hanmoon, a spiritual barrier that will keep Guima and his demons at bay forever, Huntrix are confronted by the Saja Boys, a demon boy band sent to steal the souls of their fans and stop them from sealing the Hanmoon. But the leaders of both bands have a secret. They want to kiss. And that's pretty much it. It's basically The Last Jedi with catchy pop music. I don't think I need to explain anything else.
No. And Golden Globe award-winning songs from last night, because this is the day after Golden won. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that basically is like the crux of why I think you and I definitely gravitate towards this. This is like hero's journey, mythic storytelling with a bunch of awesome Asian mythology that is, for us, I think, as an American, the North American audience, Canadians, us specifically, but it's sort of like exciting. It's fresh, right? But it still has all of those hallmarks that we expect from, you know, the hero's journey type of story. And then it's also enemies to lovers, and it's also the best songs of the year, like hands down, like the best music that came out in 2025 was from this movie. Like it and then the animation is unbelievable. Like it is. Let me tell you what the experience was when I first watched this with the girls, because it was about a week after it premiered. I was looking back at it, and I actually wanted to kind of like pinpoint, like, hey, when did we watch this? Like, how far out was I on it? Because I remember when it was announced, and I was like, that seems like a temp title. They're not going to release it as K-pop Demon Hunters, right? But it was like on a list of like all these things coming to Netflix, and I was like, I like definitely earmark that one because that sounds interesting, but who knows? We'll see when we get trailers or whatever. Never really saw any trailers. Just it was released, and sort of in the week leading up to its release, there was just kind of like this groundswell, and it just like all of a sudden, all these people that I follow online were talking about this movie. It came out, and it was about a week after. I think it was almost exactly 1 week after it came out. I said to the girls, I was like, we're gonna watch a movie tonight, and I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if we're gonna like it, but all my friends are saying that it's really really good, and I think that you guys might be into it. Um, Knowing that the girls both love Sailor Moon, right? Like that's a
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
and then knowing that it's like, sort of like the pop music sort of thing. I was like, okay, well, like let's get into it. This movie starts, and it's like the sort of like slow bubble of like, oh, this it's cute, like these girls are, I eating their snacks and whatever, and then the music starts, right? It's like, oh, there's demons or whatever, we're gonna fight the demons, and the music starts, and within like the first, like before the chorus hits, I was like, oh my god, this might be one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, it 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 was so instantaneous when they land on that stage.
Yeah.
It was like everything's different now.
Now,
Like
now
like
you're here. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like the world changed, right? Like this is this is a Star Wars, this is the experience that I talk about when we talk about John Carter, which is what we did last year for our episode, right? Like there are some movies, there are some pieces of media that you go into and you're like, oh, this will be fun, but then you walk out a different person, right? And for
Yeah.
me, this was totally one of those. I was like, oh my god, this is as cool as it gets. um and like the music was incredible, the animation was, like I said, like just unbelievable. And it just had like everything that I want a movie to have. Romance, action, comedy, music, like it's just, honestly, it is perfect. Like, this is a perfect movie. If you have a criticism of this movie, I don't want to hear it. I have absolutely no interest on your hot take about K-pop Demon Hunters, because as far as I'm concerned, it's it's perfect. Like, the one thing is that at the end, I it's not a happy ending. Like, it's a happy ending for the most part, but I don't know. Some people don't really see the romance as having a particularly happy ending, because her boyfriend turns into a sword. But I
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
but
Little bummer.
but it worked for me. Like, I
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but yeah, I just like, I was instantly like, oh my god, I love this movie. And then I looked at the girls and was like, do you guys like this? And they were both like like the reaction that the characters have in the movie to the things that they love, like their eyes turning into big hearts, and like
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
that's what they looked like. They were like, this is so cool. And we finished the movie and it was like, that, guys, that was the best. Like that, and they were like,
Amazing.
yes, that was the best. And it was such an awesome experience. And then that was just the whole summer. Just the whole summer. Because that
Just
was
watching it.
literally like, this was the end of June, right? And then I it was until they went back to school. Honestly, it was until Halloween, because the
Right, yeah.
girls were Rumi and Zoe for Halloween. So
Nice.
I yeah, like it was everything for months. And like, I'll be honest, I'm a little tired of some of the songs. But only because they have been on every playlist that we've put together since June. And so yeah, it's like, I think it's good. We need a little bit of a break. Christmas was good because there's Christmas music. So it was like, okay, we take a little bit of a break from K-pop Demon Hunters for a couple of weeks. Get sick of Christmas music and then go back to it. But yeah, it like, it just infected this household. Like,
Nice.
it's yeah, I don't know, I can't say enough good things about it. I loved it so much. But what was your experience watching it for the first time?
So I am pretty sure I jumped on it like the weekend it came out or something, because there's some stuff that comes out that I'm like, oh, I know that I'm gonna like this. It was maybe the weekend after, and I basically remember messaging Emily my friend and just being like, I am sitting with my cats having pizza and watching K-pop Demon Hunters and it's gonna be a great night. And I do remember being like unironically like excited about it.
Mhm.
And then coming out of it being like, that was a great choice. I really enjoy pop culture. I enjoy media. And this was so fun. I'm so pleased. And it just was joyous. Like, especially, I mean, I work in the animation industry, to see animation have a little bit of a resurgence and people being like, this is actually really good media and everybody can enjoy it. And I'm like, this is great. And then the sort of cherry on top for me is my sister, who doesn't traditionally like animation, nor like, I try to get her to watch my Korean dramas all the time and she's like not having it and she doesn't really care at all. I made her watch this and she like enjoyed it and it was good. And I was like, oh yes, I can't even remember now what it was her criticism was, but it was so ridiculous. Like, it was something that I was like, why did you focus on that part of it? Like, I can't even remember. It was so like insignificant that I was like, but you missed all these other really good things.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But so that was like my win, was like having somebody who's like neither a child nor an adult that's particularly media savvy with animation or anything like that actually walk away being like, yeah, that was enjoyable. I mean, she's not gonna like watch it again, but it was a thing that I'm kind of like, there's sometimes I make my sister watch things and she's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you making me watch this? And to me, that's always, it's really great to have somebody like that in your life when you're so like immersed in popular culture, to be like, what's the actual temperature on this outside of my bubble? And to sort of see somebody react to media that just is good, is fantastic to me, right? Because she's not biased by any of the things that like your kids at least have a reference for, like, you know, they like Sailor Moon and they're like receptive to the songs and all of that stuff. And so my sister just being kind of like a Joe Schmo off the street or whatever it is, right? And just being like, oh, I enjoyed that. It had a plot. The characters were interesting. The songs were catchy. I'm like, yes, what a win. And then, I mean, what an understatement too for that. I was like, it's like the bar is very low with that, but it's good. Like, for me, again, it's good. It's realizing that it's not just of a moment. There's actually something pretty resonant about like the story and bringing all that stuff together and having something that really sort of hits an audience. And I really like that, like, to be able to see something that's worth the hype. And that's for me the essence of what happened with K-pop Demon Hunters, is that there's such an ability for something to be like a flash in the pan and just like this moment, and then people forget about it, but it's had an endurance to it that's really, really fantastic to watch. And I remember, it's odd being in Canada and in the field that I am, because I never know really. I'm like, is this something that's happening in my bubble or is it something that's happening around the world? And then I remember a few months later, like after I'd sort of stopped really thinking about K-pop Demon Hunters, they were on, like, they sang at the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade, and I was like, oh, this still exists and people are still talking about it. And then for them to win the Golden Globe, I'm like, okay, it's great. I'm so pleased and I'm so excited that I got to participate in this sort of really exciting moment in cultural history in the last year. So that's where I'm coming from with it.
Yeah, we're in a weird spot, right? Like, I think in the lead up to 2020, I Star Wars, Marvel, even DC, even though those movies were all hot garbage, in terms of like cultural impact, everything was like as intense as it gets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was a really funny thing that happened. It happened right before the pandemic. And I'm looking right at him. He's sitting on my desk. Sonic the Hedgehog came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that movie, against all odds, I mean, like, you're talking, we've got, for some reason, James Marsden on a road trip with a CG character again. It's like the third one of these movies that he's done. And people are like, and there's the whole controversy of like the ugly Sonic and all of that. And the movie got delayed because they basically redid all of the special effects for Sonic. Jim Carrey is Robotnik, and people are like, that's going to be too much. And this movie comes out, and like in the midst of all of these other juggernauts, because you know, we just had Rise of Skywalker, which even if you didn't like the movie, was still like a behemoth of a media moment, right? And and you know, 2019 we'd had Endgame, and it just like things were just at this like crazy fever pitch with those major franchises with the big stuff. And then Sonic came out, the pandemic happened, and nothing else came out. And it was really funny because Sonic stayed at the top of because it was one of the last movies to release right before lockdown, right? So
Right,
it
yeah.
stayed at number one, or not, it didn't stay at number one because nothing was at number one because nobody was going to movies, but like it wasn't dethroned, so to speak, for
Right.
quite a while
Yeah.
because nobody was going to movies and nothing was being released in theaters, right? So like we started getting like these weird streaming releases or whatever. But I look at Sonic and I go like this movie should not have been as big as it was. It should not have had the moment that it did, but because it was given that weird breathing room, it ended up having that. And it sort of signaled to me, like I look at it as the first movie in this era of all of these unlikely properties, all of these
Mm.
unlikely franchises or like not franchises coming up out of nowhere and dominating pop culture. Because as much as like I don't want to say that there's like superhero fatigue because I think that that's BS. It's just what it is that and this, if you're a video game fan, you know how this goes. Whichever console, whichever company is sort of at the top, they get really complacent and they lose that spot. They end up losing that
Mm,
top spot
mm,
because
mhm.
they're not hungry, so they're not doing anything innovative, they're not doing anything interesting. And this happened with Sony and Microsoft for years. They would go back and forth between consoles of like which one was on the top, which one was like sort of nipping at their heels and overtaking them and that sort of thing. And I think like Disney really, really got kind of too big for its britches and then got into a mode, especially because of the pandemic, of maintaining rather than excelling. And like prior to that, especially like Marvel Studios kind of coming out of nowhere with Iron Man and building that up to the Avengers with all of these like B, C, and D list characters that nobody cared about, because nobody cared about Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, even like the Hulk had some misfires, and so people were like, no, we don't want that. um and because they were in that position, they were able to build up something so incredible. They got to that height, and then like similar with Star Wars, I think then Disney was like, well, you guys just have to put things out at that level, always at that level, just at that level.
Right.
And so it became like they started just like running a playbook over and over and over again, and people have gotten tired of it, right? And they haven't, like, there's been a couple of movies that have come out with the Marvel stuff, like Thunderbolts last year, that bucked that trend, and people are like, oh, this is actually really good, right? But for the most part, the Marvel movies that have come out since 2020 have kind of been we haven't gotten a Star Wars movie since 2019. So there's been this like weird gap, and in that gap we got, like I said, Sonic the Hedgehog. We ended up getting Barbie. We've gotten all of these weird things that I don't think would have had the oxygen had Feige and Marvel Studios like maintained that momentum that they had from 2019. So it's not, I'm not going to say it's a good thing. Like the pandemic was awful for a variety of reasons, and a million things that are happening right now in the world are happening still as a result of that 5 years later. And a lot of the nonsense that we're dealing with at the beginning here of 2026 is a direct result of things that happened then. So I like I think overall not a positive, but there was sort of like this almost like reset with Hollywood, where weird stuff was able to bubble to the surface. Stuff that just would not have gotten the time of day has. The Predator franchise has come back in the hugest way,
I
which is
know.
so
Love
weird
it.
to me, because like if you told me of like Alien, Terminator, RoboCop, just all of the like crazy 80s action franchises, if you had told me that Predator would be the one that was releasing the best content in 2025, I would have been like, you're ridiculous. That's insane. But it is it, not to say that Alien hasn't also been releasing some incredible stuff, because Alien Earth was ridiculously good. But like there's been this like there was like a power vacuum, and all of these random things have come in to fill it, and put out cool stuff, in the absence of there being any, you know, Marvel, Star Wars, DC stuff, as all of those franchises kind of took a pause.
Hmm.
And K-pop Demon Hunters to me is I think like the best example of something new, unique, and interesting getting to flourish because of that lack of sort of pop culture dominance from one franchise at the moment. So bad Marvel movies led to K-pop Demon Hunters is my thesis, I
It's
guess.
your thesis. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting at.
But like I look at it and I go like, I don't think that we could have had this moment with this movie throughout the summer of 2025 if Fantastic Four were good. Right? But it wasn't. Fantastic Four was fine. It was okay. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a bad movie, but nobody walked out of Fantastic Four going like, "Oh my god." And even like Superman, which you and I both absolutely loved, and it did have its moment. I it didn't overtake K-pop Demon Hunters, which I
No.
just think is such a fascinating thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but it speaks to this I think it speaks to this moment right now where people want something new. They want something different. It still needs to have the familiar hallmarks of you know, a good you know, pop culture story, right? Which
Hmm.
is that hero's journey type stuff. But as I said at the beginning, like it being um steeped in Asian mythology, I think is sort of the secret sauce that made it such a big hit in North America. And obviously, I think it also contributes it to it being a global hit, because then it's going to hit better, obviously in Korea, but also in Japan and China and like I think throughout Asia, because there tends to be like a bit of a like, oh awesome, we're having a moment, that's cool.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I think that those elements being fresh and not necessarily things that we've seen, at least not in a while, right? Like it's been a
Hmm.
minute. And
Hmm.
and then on top of that, for it to not be um this it, K-pop Demon Hunters is authentic, right? Like
Right.
this
Yeah.
is not Orientalism. This is not this isn't a couple of white guys doing a Japanimation, right? Like this is like a legit piece of media from uh, a sincere place. Maggie Kang wanting to bring these uh, pop culture elements from her culture into the broader culture,
Hmm.
and I think that's also one of the reasons why it ends up just being so resonant, is that desire to tell a story, to go like, hey, look at all of this cool mythology that we have. I It's a great backdrop for a story, for on what is at the end of the day just a very straightforward, simple love story. But it's just the flavor, right? It's the same thing as like Star Wars being a very simple, straightforward story, but the backdrop is sort of the thing that makes it special. um
So
and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
and and taking a different look at that too, because what you're talking about is all these sort of big franchises and this big franchise fatigue a little bit, and even something like Sonic the Hedgehog being so large, there's something that is that you're hitting on here with the idea of authenticity
Mhm.
and something starting small that allows it to maintain that authenticity. So when you go into a project like this, or one of the things that I see that happened with a project like this is that, again, it's not like Netflix was like, we need the next biggest hit that every young girl is going to want to dress up like for Halloween. That's not why they
Yeah.
bought this property, right? It was that there was something really unique in the story that they knew had legs, and that they were like, this is really interesting. There's something here, but we're not going to muck with it too much. Like, we're going to let you tell this sort of smaller scope story for, I mean, again, I don't know what like the production value is on something like this, but I like, again, it wasn't like a big like
Mhm.
Marvel movie, right? Um, they didn't have Marvel money. So it allows them, again, there's just like less pressure to be
Yeah.
what they think audiences want. And it allows them to be what audiences actually want, even if audiences don't know that that's what they want. And I just, not to tangent too much, but I mean, we talk about being these middle-aged millennials, and I got to talk about, I happened to watch a Hank Green video today. He did like a vlog, as he's wont to do. I don't know, I'm showing my age here with the Vlog Brothers, where he was talking about the nature of community and manufactured events, and how New Year's Eve this year just felt so gross, like something has broken, and like as a culture,
Mhm.
like New Year's is like not what it used to be, and blah blah blah. And he contrasted it to the really organic nature of I think Santa Monica Boulevard has this billboard that counts down how many, or counts up how many people die of smoking each year, and at midnight on the new year it goes to zero. And that it had culminated in like this group of people just hanging out on Santa Monica Boulevard, blocking traffic, or I don't know where it was. Sorry, Santa Monica. It might not be Santa Monica, but like in like California,
Mhm.
and they just all cheered. They're like, "Yeah, this is our moment!" And there was a fun authenticity to that because it wasn't manufactured and it wasn't meant to be what it became. And
Yeah.
that if you allow people to say, "Hey, we really want this experience. We want the community. We want the collective." But we don't want you to tell us what that is. We want to find it ourselves. And to me, I know that that might be like a really big reach for everybody else for an analogy, but to me, that's sort of what you're talking about, is the idea that these big studios
Mhm.
have started creating things that they think we want because they know that they can get our money. And we're starting as a society to be like, stop it. I know that this isn't genuine. I know that you're just manipulating me because you know that I could want this, and
Yeah.
that it's not like I don't like it. Like, sure, I like Superman and I liked like Fantastic Four. Like you're saying, it wasn't a bad movie. It's just that it's like, ugh, I know that you just want my money. You don't care about me as an audience member. Whereas K-pop Demon Hunters, I think, really cared about the audience that they were talking to, and just they knew that there were young girls that were going to see something on the screen that was really going to resonate with them, that they were going to have fun, that they were going to create this music that really isn't like manufactured. Like, I know that K-pop is such a manufactured thing, so
It's
I
yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
like, I don't want to like say that it's not, but it, again, it's not like it was manufactured by like the big conglomerates creating K-pop music. It was taking the ethos of K-pop music and sort of being like, well, again, there's a reason why that's popular, but we're not going to make it for that audience. We're going to make it for audiences that like it, and we're going to make it in this sort of unique and interesting way. And so like, I don't know, the like, again, I have the Wikipedia article open, and it just like the first thing, and I was gonna say it like when I opened it and was we were starting this, I was like, that's such an interesting line. But they call it a musical urban fantasy film, and I love that because that is, it's like, it's an urban fantasy
Mhm.
because we all live in this, like, we can see ourselves in this world of demons and demon hunters.
Yeah.
It's so adjacent to the lives that we live, and these problems that these girls are having. Like, again, they're demon hunters, and she's falling in love with a demon, and she's dealing with her own, but at the end of the day, they're just like friends hanging out, eating food, talking to their manager, wanting a day off, wanting to go to the spa. Like, it's just, there's something really grounded about it, and I think that to me is really exciting. And again, not as sort of like I don't know if that was as articulate as sort of what you're getting at with the larger things, but that's sort of the approach that I have to it is when you look at authenticity, how do you can't manufacture it, right? Like we're trying to manufacture authenticity, and at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to let it exist. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that I get out of K-pop Demon Hunters is that there's something there that I can see myself in it, even
Yeah.
though I'm not in it. Like,
There's a thing that I've been observing in the last, I would say probably like 6 to 8 months, which is that I'm so grateful for this because I've been kind of griping about it for I think the last 3 or 4 years, and that is the era that J.J. Abrams really started with Lost, right? That mystery
mhm.
box era of like every property needing to have some, I mean, it's a mystery. It's the mystery box, right? It needs to
Mhm,
have
mhm,
some question mark at the core of it that everybody is trying to solve for.
mm,
That creates a pop culture moment. And I think like the thing is that Lost was such an organic, it like that happened so organically because of the time when that show was released in relation to um where the internet was at, where social media was at, and like because that's the beginning of, I mean, it's not the beginning, but it's like that's the moment when Wikipedia goes from being a thing that a few people know about to a thing that now everybody uses, right?
mhm,
And I created my Wikipedia account in order to go on the Lost Wikipedia articles to post theories, and like people were using it as like a place to do all of this speculation and creating like this social moment as a result, right? Like it was all like this combined thing.
You're so much more on the internet than I am, and it's moments like this where I realize that there's just so much that I, like,
You
miss. Like,
missed out on.
I'm
Yeah.
so adjacent to it that I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Wikipedia," and I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean? What are you talking about?"
um but that moment kicked off an era of everything needing to have a twist, everything needing to have a surprise. And this is right at the same moment that Iron Man happens and it has the post credit scene. And so
Mm,
now all of a sudden, like these are the things that you have to have. You have to have like a build up. You have to have a continuous story, this serialized thing where people can like track and go like, okay, but if you look at that one shot and then here over this and thing and connect the dots and blah blah blah. And people got like so up their own butts about this sort of thing that like, I mean, like this is just, it just happened with Stranger Things with the finale of that, and then everybody being like, but that's not the end, right? And like there's a secret
yeah,
ninth episode coming.
yeah,
And then all these
yeah.
people like going like, oh, if you look at this, and they release these videos and they're all 107, and so on January 7th this thing's gonna happen and blah blah blah. And it's like, these are like the death knells of
Mm,
this
mhm,
era of storytelling coming to a close. And I think like Stranger Things sort of being right at the tail end of that is very appropriate because it took them 10 years to finish that story. And
mhm.
so like that's sort of like that it started in that era, and so it kind of had to finish with that same sort of promise. But it didn't, like it actually finished in like a very straightforward, I don't want to spoil anything for the end of Stranger Things because people might not have finished it yet, but it ends in like a
I don't think it's a
very,
spoiler to say that it's in a straightforward way. It
no,
actually
but
ends, which
it's,
is
yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah. It
yeah,
has an ending, and there's
yeah,
finality to it, and it comes to a close. And I actually found it super satisfying,
yeah,
and was
yeah.
like,
Same.
oh, that was a really nice way to cap that off.
It's
And
done now.
what I
Yeah.
will say is that like it ended, and basically the Duffer Brothers went, um, whatever your fan fiction is for how this ended, just as valid as what we just said.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's literally how the show ends, is
yeah.
essentially with them having the characters like tell you whatever you want the ending to be is what the ending is. Like, it actually doesn't matter. Go tell your own stories.
I like that.
And to me, like that, it's starting in that mystery box era and then ending in the era that we're in now, which I think is very much, I I I mean, like, I think the thing that we're coming into is the fandom sort of motivated storytelling with things like Love Hypothesis coming out, but like fan fiction being turned into major, you know, franchise motion pictures, right? Um, like it ending that way, I think it's like such a fitting way to do it, of like bridging those things. But we're really like, the audience is done with the mystery box thing, but Hollywood is always really slow on the uptake with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, executives are so out of touch that they're still pushing this. And I like, the prime example I have of this is Steven Spielberg's next movie. I what's it called? It's something or other. Disclosure Day.
Could not tell you what Steven Spielberg's next movie is.
It's,
I'm not paying
well,
attention.
so this was a couple of weeks ago. They tried to make a moment, and this the Hank Green thing that you brought up, of like these sort of manufactured moments. The marketing campaign for this movie started, and this movie doesn't come out until I think June or July of 2026 of this year. Um, but they started this campaign in the middle of December, and it's it's one of these movies that it's like, it's from Steven Spielberg, and then it's like, oh, there's weird stuff happening, guys. Oh, this person's on the news and they're talking in clicks and bops and stuff. What's that all about? And is, oh, they don't, this is, nobody wants you to know. It's a thing they're hiding from everybody, but we're gonna tell them. We're gonna tell them all at once. And that's I guess this is what Disclosure Day is. They're gonna disclose that everybody's an alien, or that we're all from another dimension, or other dimensional beings are making deer walk with little children into weird glowing houses. I don't know. The trailer is complete and utter nonsense. It looks like it was generated by AI. Which is like, I've been saying this a lot lately about things that I don't like. I go like, I don't know, seems like that movie was written by AI. I don't know. That trailer looks like it was generated by AI, because it's just the most derogatory thing I can possibly
You
say.
can think of, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like,
Isn't that like that's the new like Gen Alpha slang though, isn't it? Or there's probably
the
a
AI
generation
slop
after.
thing. Yeah, it's like,
AI
yeah,
is like, oh, how
it's like
AI
AI
or
slop.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I'm totally on board for that, right? Because I just think it's the most like, but it's a shorthand that I'm using to say that, like, this looks false. This looks
Yeah.
disingenuous. This looks
Yeah.
manufactured for consumption, which is what
Mhm.
AI exists for, right?
Yeah.
And all of that is to say, circle back around to K-pop Demon Hunters, which is the antithesis of that. It is the absolute utter antithesis of it, and that's one of the reasons why it is the movie that it is, because the story is authentic. The if you dig into the background of there are essentially two performers who bring Rumi, the lead character, to life. There's Arden Cho, who is the voice actor, who does all of the sort of like the speaking acting parts, right? And then
Mhm.
there's EJ, who's the singing voice for Rumi. Both of them have stories of like, I thought I was done.
Yeah.
I thought my
Yeah.
career was over. I
Mhm.
took this gig because I was like, yeah, I guess, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And now they're both massive stars. They have huge followings. There's all of these kids that look up to them. Like, they have become literal idols overnight. And I think that one of the reasons why is because that feeling that they had, both of them, it's such an interesting thing that that they have this commonality that is also common in the character of Rumi, which is sort of this um this sort of almost like defeated attitude, right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I gotta keep going because I'm so close. So I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. Um,
Yeah.
but then it's sort of like in that darkest moment and embracing that then like that's sort of Rumi's story, right? Is that when she falls as far as she could possibly fall, that's when she realizes like, oh, actually I'm just me and I'm kind of sick of pretending to be other things. And that
Mhm.
and that's when we get the climax of the movie and the song what it sounds like, that like just like I think if you're locked in with the movie, right, if you're connecting with it, it's like an arrow through your heart. Like it hits you so hard. And I think it's because the performance leading up to that from Arden Cho is so impactful because
Mhm.
she's
Mhm.
putting everything like she you know had this Netflix show that was going to be this big break, and then
Mhm.
it released and nobody cared, and it fell totally flat and no one watched
Yeah.
it even though she was super proud of it, and everybody thought that it was going to be this great like crossover Korean drama on Netflix, and everybody was going to go wild, right? Like it was going to be the thing that did that. It wasn't. And then sort of the
Yeah.
next thing, I don't know if it was exactly the next thing, but like one of the next things that she goes and does is K-pop Demon Hunters, and it like I think she like brought that into it, right? And then with EJ, it's like she has a whole story of like doing the whole, as you said, K-pop is a very manufactured thing. They have
Mm, mhm,
essentially
mhm.
like farms where they send girls to train, and they go like, you 12 are going to be a new group and you 6 are going to be a new group and you guys are all done. And like it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like it's a reality show with no reality show. Sometimes there is a reality show, but like it's almost like I just like this very competitive, like cutthroat thing. And she got really close, really really close, but never quite became
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
K-pop idol. And that put her in the right spot to get tapped and write the music for this movie. And she's one of the first people that came on board with it, right? Like they started writing the songs while the script was still being worked and before they'd even really started animation, any of that
Yeah, you can
stuff.
tell it's not an afterthought, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the like it's all part of
Yeah.
it. And there's like the thing is too, I also want to just make sure that I'm clear here. Like I don't think that there was not like this is obviously like there was a lot of love and thought and money that went into making this film. I don't want to like
Yeah.
undermine it and say that it wasn't. I just mean like there's a difference between manufacturing something and like, even the cast of this is just really great. Like they chose
Yeah.
people that like obviously there's famous people in it, but not the leads. Well, okay. Jinwoo, I will say, is like famous like in Korean
Yeah.
drama standards. But like but like you're like the again, the way that you're talking about, like everybody was like they're not like nobodies. They were doing stuff, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
they're not like hired because they were like gonna be the driving force behind this film, right? And
It's
like,
it yeah, it's the reality that, and I don't think that a lot of people realize this, because Hollywood is such an insular um like the nepotism and the
Mhm,
favoritism and
mhm.
then like the machine of it, of like, well, this person's having a moment, so suddenly they're in everything, right? Like that, all of those components, it's like we end up thinking that like, oh well, these 12 people are the most talented people on the planet. And it's like, no, these 12 people are
No.
not the most talented people on the planet. They're the most marketable talented people on
Yeah.
the planet,
Yeah.
right?
There you go. Mhm.
and
Different.
and
Mhm.
if you are an animation fan, as I
Yeah.
am, like
Yeah.
through and through, that there are some actors out there that are more talented than people who are winning Academy Awards, right? Okay, I might get a little bit of flack for this. I don't think Timothy Chalamet is a bad actor. I just think that he's a very one-dimensional, like typecast type of actor. It's like like a very like Tom Cruise sort of thing. It's like if you got a movie that you think that like Timothy Chalamet is the right guy to be the lead, then you plug him in and it's going to make a certain amount of money, right? I don't
Yep.
think that he's a better actor than a lot of people working behind the scenes as voice actors in animation, because I think that it is a much harder job to do that. It is a much harder job to convey a character simply with your voice to the extent that it comes through, whether the animation is Pixar or Sony Pictures or, you know, like the film level, or like there are a lot of like TV shows with much less budget, with much more rudimentary animation, not bad animation, but it's just like the budget's just not there. They don't have the time to put in that much of the emoting and whatever, right? But the vocal performances will come through and you're like, I am connected with this character, I am connected
Hmm.
with this
Hmm.
person, and you believe it, and it's authentic and and genuine and meaningful, right? And
Yeah.
it is like, here's the thing: put Timothy Chalamet in a voice recording studio, right? Like, put him behind that mic, get him to do whatever the next Disney movie is, right? Because he's the type of person that they would want in that sort of a project. And I guarantee you it will be this like flat, boring, uninteresting performance,
I'm checking
right?
if he's been in anything. It feels weird to me that he hasn't done voice acting.
Yeah.
Also, though, I absolutely love that he's your reference because it was a thing that like I I didn't realize that he's like been doing like movies that people are like, how does he not have all the accolades for it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. But also, he's
He,
just he's all right. Like,
he's
he's
fine.
fine. I
The
mean,
thing,
I didn't
he's
watch
chasing
Beautiful
it.
like I didn't watch Beautiful Boy or Call Me by Your Name, just
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you know
yeah.
though. Like, I don't know, maybe those ones are really good.
Sure. I mean, I haven't either, but that's like, I tend to not watch a
So
lot
we'll
of,
just
I tend to not watch a lot of Oscar bait movies. Like, it's
Oh, he
not,
was in Interstellar. Was he the little boy in Interstellar?
probably.
I feel like I recall that now. Wow, he's been acting for a really long
Yeah.
time. I understand now why
He's,
people want him to get accolades. Okay.
he's not a, I pick him because he's the kind of the guy of the moment, right? Like, he did
Yeah,
just
yeah.
win
Yeah, that's
last
fair.
night at the Golden Globes. And
You're just using him as an example against
yeah,
like
he's just a
again,
prime example.
he's talented, he's just not probably the most talented person in the
He,
world
yeah,
because the most talented person in the world
yeah.
doesn't have the same
I can
yeah.
name 5 voice actors who I think are actually probably better actors, but because they don't have the look and they're not, you know, like, of the moment, they're not marketable. They'll never get that chance, right? But they have delivered unbelievable performances across, you know, 5 or 6 different shows that
Mhm.
that are all like beloved and that like molded people's childhoods or like with some shows like adulthoods, right? Like, and so like animation just sits in this funny spot where, because cartoons are for kids, a lot of people like your sister go, well, animation
Yeah.
is for children. And it's like,
Yeah, which is not the
that's not,
same.
these are not the same
Yeah.
thing.
No. No, no, no. Yeah.
And
For
I
sure.
think
I
like,
have to say,
yeah.
this is so out of pocket. It means it has nothing to do with anything, but I just found out that Matthew Broderick actually sung the songs for Lion King, and then they just didn't use them. And now I want to listen to Matthew Broderick singing the Lion King songs. And a reason that matters to me is because I really loved Matthew Broderick was one of my favorite actors when I was in high school. Like I loved him, and I will like love Godzilla forever because of Matthew Broderick. Like I'm
Yeah.
so deep cut. And like, I don't know, like, but again, The Lion King, so like there used to be these times when they would have actors do the voices and they don't do that so much anymore. I don't know. Maybe they do. But
They do.
anyways,
It's
whatever.
just, it's all the choices are just weird. I don't know. Those choices are just weird these days. I mean, I just saw Zootopia 2 yesterday, and
Ooh.
it was so boring.
Oh no.
It
I
was
didn't know
so
that that's what you
it
were
was
saying.
so aggressively Zootopia. Because like
Oh.
I really liked the
Okay.
first Zootopia. I don't think that
Yeah.
the first Zootopia is a great movie, but I really enjoyed a lot of it.
Hmm.
Um and it which is sort of like a weird distinction to make, but like I like Jason Bateman a lot, and so I think I just really enjoyed a lot of his stuff in that movie, um, and a lot of the other like random, Idris Elba and whatever. Like there's a lot of really great voice. I sort of not cameos because they're not cameo characters, they're plot characters, but just like sort of stunt casting, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
in that first one. And then with the second one, it's like I this is what I had said to Crystal, is that like the first movie was a pretty good movie, like a I mean it's a pretty stock standard
yeah.
I kid's story of like, I you can achieve your dreams. Just because you're different doesn't mean that you can't be great, sort of thing, right? And like this unlikely duo comes together, and that's what makes them so special, is sort of like this weird mix, right? um but they execute that story really well, and then on top of it they have all of these great little like blink and you miss it gags of like, I mean the character Duke Weaselton
Oh yeah.
is a reference to Frozen because
Wesselton,
it's
yeah.
Duke Wesselton,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
love it.
they're both voiced by Alan Tudyk,
Yeah.
but Duke Weaselton is selling bootleg movies, and all of the movies are like animal puns on Disney movies, right? And so like it's a thing of like this doesn't affect the movie at all, but when you see those gags you're like, ha, that's funny. Zootopia 2, it's like they looked at Zootopia and they went, oh, that's what people liked, and so they just made that, and then went, I don't know, I guess we can have a story that necessitates 6 chase sequences, where like the chase starts, all 6 of these chase sequences, I'm not even kidding, there are 6 chase sequences in this movie. There might actually be more, but 6 is what I clocked. I Every single one of them starts exactly the same way, which is like the music kind of has like these blaring trumpets of like a little wham, and then the snap zoom on our characters, and then the reverse of like whatever they're being chased by, and then we're off. And then 30 seconds into the chase, we're going to run past something that is an oh so hilarious animal pun. And when it
Oh.
got to it after the third one, I when I clocked it, I leaned into Crystal and I was like, well, first off, I got up and I went to the washroom, which I very rarely do in movies, but I was like, I'm going to the washroom literally for a break from this film. This
Oh
was in the
no.
middle of the third chase sequence. I was like, I can't do this. So I
You
got
get
up and
it.
I
I
left.
get it. Yep.
And when I sat back down, it had just sort of finished. And then about 2 minutes later, I was like, oh, already? Already. And I leaned over to Crystal and I go, here we go for chase sequence number 4. It's going to be so funny when they run past an oh so hilarious animal pun. And they literally, and like, I was so correct on this that I almost got up and left. Like I literally almost got up and just walked out of the movie because I was like, I'm done. Like I can't. And it's so funny that that was my experience with that movie yesterday. It had some genuine laughs. Like it wasn't awful. It just was not hitting for me.
Mhm.
Like there were some moments where I was like, that's a good joke. That was really funny. But it was just, there was so much of this manufactured feel to it. I did walk out of the movie and go, I don't know, felt like it was written by AI to me. And what that means to me is that it's like there was like 10 people in a room going like, what makes a good Zootopia? Rather than somebody going, I have a story to tell with these characters,
Mm,
and now I'm
mhm,
going to tell
mhm.
that story, and then like we'll find the jokes along the way. They went, what makes a good Zootopia movie? Oh, these two bickering with each other is one of the important things. It's like I can see the whiteboard that
Mm.
was in the conference room where they cooked this movie. They didn't write this movie. It was like it was put into an easy bake oven, right? Like, and that's like when I say like, oh, it's like AI wrote this, because that's what AI does. AI takes a bunch of junk from everywhere else and it averages it and goes, here's a thing, I guess. right? This is
Yeah.
a reasonable
Yeah.
facsimile of the thing that you requested.
Mhm.
And that's like, there's a reason why producers look at AI and go, this is the solve to all of our problems, right? And it's because that's how they've been trying to run Hollywood since the 80s, right? Star Wars hits in 77, and the next 2 decades are execs trying to dissect and reassemble Star Wars, right? Like I talk about this all the time. Masters of the Universe, The Last Starfighter, like
Mm.
Battlestar Galactica as a TV show is just, can we make a Star Wars TV show on the cheap, right? Disney puts out The Black Hole, like just there are, those are just the space ones. Like it's just, it's 2 decades immediately after Star Wars of Hollywood trying to do it, until George Lucas walked back out and went, you guys don't know what this is. You have no idea
Mhm.
what a Star War is. And he releases 3 more that aren't anything like the first 3. And everybody goes, well, I don't like these. They're nothing like the first 3, until 20 years later, when everybody goes, you know what? I actually think I kind of like those movies. And now when we talk about Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul, Queen Amidala, Jar Jar Binks, they're all a part of Star Wars, guys.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's so funny because in 1999 it was like, this isn't Star Wars, not my Star Wars. And then they put out more movies, and then people are like, this isn't my Star Wars. My Star Wars is battle droids. And you're like, whoa, man, I'm having some weird, confusing deja vu. But you see it, like, you see Hollywood try to recreate these organic moments, and it doesn't work, right? Like, it
Mm.
just,
Mhm.
and the reason why it doesn't work isn't because they figured out all of the ingredients and the recipe. But if, listen, it doesn't matter if you can get your whatever fresh box delivery service thing to your door, and it's got all it's, hey, we portioned out everything. You've got an
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
perfectly sliced, I mean, Amanda, you know this, you can't cook, so
I can't. You
like,
know.
at all, right? Like, you have no shame about it, which is a thing that I find so odd. But it's like, here are these perfectly cut pieces of meat. Here's the seasoning in exactly the amounts that you need to pinch and dash onto that, and like all of the instructions to do it. But if you don't know how to saute, you can't make that food, right? Like, it's not going to turn out the way that it does on the little card. Like, you look at the little card and you're like, this is going to be a good meal. And then you have like the little reveal moment of like, you pull the card away and you see what you actually made. And it's just like this sort of bubbling, like, burnt thing. And you're like, I don't know how to do this. And that's exactly what Hollywood does with movies, is that they look at Star Wars, or they look at I don't know, like I think, like, with Disney movies, there was a minute there where they were like looking at Walt Disney's stuff, and they were trying to recreate that until the Renaissance, right? And this is like they followed all of the instructions on the recipe, but they didn't actually know how to do it. Like, they
Mm.
didn't actually understand the technique or the art of it. And so what you got was something that was like, yeah, I guess that's what this is, but it's not very good. Right? Like, you have a like AAA cut of beef here, but you ruined it. Like, you did a bad I mean, Tron Ares just came out, and it's like, I don't know how you mess that up. I don't know how you mess up Tron that bad. That movie is offensively bad, guys. It's so bad. Um I love that my way of saying how good K-pop Demon Hunters
It's
is
just to destroy every other
is
movie.
is to
Like,
talk about how horrible the state of Hollywood is right now.
yeah.
But that, like, I
The bar
feel
is
like it's,
underground right now is what I'm getting from this, Mike. Is
oh,
that
for
like,
sure.
come on, guys, do
It is,
better.
but it's all of that is like just me supporting this idea that, like, this is all of that trash, all of that garbage is perfect compost to
Yeah.
grow incredible things like
Yeah.
K-pop Demon Hunters. I'll throw Superman, like James Gunn's Superman in there. Because like the ashes of the DCEU led to us getting Superman. And Predator Badlands, which like those are my 3 favorite movies of last year. If I'm gonna round it out to my top 5, we can throw in Thunderbolts, because I really loved that movie.
It
Even though
was
like
great. There was no villain, Mike.
oh dude,
They're starting to get it. They
it's so good.
understand that the world is complex, and maybe, oh, it was great. We could do one of these about Thunderbolts as well. So,
for sure.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what I love about this too. Sorry, you can tell me your 5th one, and then I'm going to circle back to
go ahead.
Because I go, then I'm like, oh, there's something about K-pop Demon Hunters too, right? Where it's like the bad guy, sure, it's what is it, Guama or Guami, whatever
Guima,
his name is, Guima. But it's like the Saja boys are like, they're bad guys, and you're like, or not really. Maybe everybody that's bad is actually just misunderstood. And I mean, at a certain point, intention matters, or impact matters. Impact, not intention. That's what I meant. But like, there's still complexity to these characters, and it's like think about what's behind it, and how people are coming at stuff. And I don't know. I think, but that's the thing from Thunderbolts that just absolutely blew my mind. Okay, again, there's no bad guy, but it's the structure and society in which we live that is the bad guy, right? And it's sort of what I took away from Thunderbolts. And it's like, you're just going to churn in this machine anyways, so you might as well find some connection and authenticity and like meaning in the chaos, because it definitely isn't coming from anywhere else. And if you paint the world in black and white, then you're just going to be disappointed. So I don't know. But then they have demons in K-pop Demon Hunters, so maybe like, but again, even they're just like demons. They just they didn't like talk about them being bad. They're just like people that are stuck and don't want to be dead. I don't know. I don't think that's terrible.
Well, no, I mean, that was the thing by the end of the movie, is that you're going like, actually, I think that like what the demons need is redemption, not to be murdered. And that is kind of the one thing, if you want to have like a conversation about like, oh, that wasn't the greatest message right at the end, but it's like, listen, we got to wrap this movie up. We don't have time to now like save all of the demons, and also we need to have something for the sequel. So
there you go.
Yeah, like and so I give it that. I go like, no, we'll do that. We'll do that in part 2. In part 2, it's got to be about like, okay, so we've the Han Moon is like this bright, colorful thing, and not just golden now, right? And but like, now how do we save the demons instead of just murdering all of them? Yeah. I'm trying to, while we're talking, go through all of the releases from 2025 to remember what my number 5 is, because I did have a top 5. I think I posted it on Blue Sky at one point. Like after I saw, because Predator Badlands was December, so it was the beginning of December, so I was like, I'm pretty sure nothing else is going to come out this year that's going to change this.
So you feel like good about your
but I'm trying.
so.
I can't. It's funny. I can't remember what my number 5 was, and I'm trying to go through a list and like see like what came out last year that was in there. I know that like. Here's the thing. Predator Badlands was my number 1 movie of last year. And that, after having just rewatched it this past weekend, because it's on digital now. And by the way, heads up, it's the next Perfect 10. It's literally the next episode. Missy and I are going to talk about it, and we'll dig into it. So I won't go too much into it. It's my favorite movie of last year. There was a moment where I was like, if not for K-pop Demon Hunters and Superman, this would be my favorite movie of the year. And then as I lived with that for longer and longer, I was like, no, this is my favorite movie of the year. I loved it so much. But nice. So that's my number 1. And then I think that like Superman's probably number 2. And then K-pop Demon Hunters is in third. But it's unfair. K-pop Demon Hunters is the best movie that came out last year. Like that's my expert opinion, is I think that this
and then you understand your own biases to be like, and this is my personal ranking, but it has nothing to do with objectivity.
Exactly. Because I mean,
you're
like,
ahead of me. I don't even think I saw 5 movies in theaters last year.
Oh,
although
really?
I will say I feel very good because I went to the movies with Charlotte, who people don't know, but she's like my highbrow fancy movie watching friend, and I never like movies that she likes. And she just happened. I just happened to be in town, and she's like, "I'm going to see Sentimental Value." So I watched Sentimental Value, like it's in a different language. Like it was good. I enjoyed it. It was good. So like that's like randomly like one of the movies I watched last year, which I would not normally have watched, but it was enjoyable. So,
That's
but
funny.
I don't even know what came out last year, honestly. So I
mean, like, listen, there were a lot of really good movies last year, actually. Like Freakier Friday. I know that's going to be a wild one for a lot of people. Freakier Friday was really, really good. Like, it was a very well written, funny movie. It was really, and that was one that Kara was like, "Oh, I want to go see this." She picked it for her birthday, and we watched it, and I think it was about like 15 minutes into that movie. I didn't text Crystal. It was a birthday party, so we were kind of like, we had to be in communication of like, keep an eye on that kid that's misbehaving. So we were using our watches to be as like inconspicuous and like low key as we could. But like, I sent her a message and I was like, "Is this movie legitimately good?" And she texted back like, "I think it might be." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I really, really liked it. But
did you watch Sinners? Did you watch Sinners?
I didn't see Sinners. It's like, it's such a blind spot for me last year. Is Sinners last year, or was that 2024? It was 2025.
I think it was last year, and I heard good things about Weapons as well, but neither of those movies are in my genres. So like, I don't know that I would enjoy, like, I know that I wouldn't like enjoy them. They would scare me more than they would like make me happy. F1 came out last year too. I don't know. I feel like that just seems fun.
I think I might have put Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth on that list because
solid film.
I actually think it's really good. I think it's one of the better Jurassic Park movies, but
it's just a fun monster movie that means nothing. So okay,
it didn't.
We have been sort of, as you will say, not being the best at the Hollywood machine and giving it props, but I will say they finally got Jurassic Park right, and I really enjoyed it. Did it have Chris Pratt in it?
No, it did not.
Because I think that's why I liked it, is that it didn't have Chris Pratt in it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, I like the dinosaurs part of these movies.
Yeah, no. We went with Jurassic World Rebirth. We went completely the opposite direction, and we replaced Chris Pratt with Jonathan Bailey, and
his slutty little glasses.
And his slutty little glasses. Great. And great. Yeah, so I mean, like, listen, like that movie, it knew what it was. It knew what it was doing. And I appreciate a piece of art that knows exactly what it is, because that's what I make, right? Like, all the stuff that I make is stuff that is like, is this good? No. Is it confident in what it is? Absolutely. Right. Like, and every art print that I do is like, this is for an audience of like 5 people, but those 5 people think it's the best thing they've ever seen. So
I love that.
That's the zone that I like to operate in.
So generic, because I'm like, why are we both okay with Jurassic Park Rebirth or whatever it was, but like so upset about the rest of it? And it's because we were talking about manufactured authenticity. There's nothing authentic about Jurassic Park. It's just fun. Yeah. And so they weren't trying to be like, this movie's meaningful, like this movie's a puzzle. And they're like, no man, it's about dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and it's great.
At no point did anybody in the lead up to that film go, you know, we went back to the original source material, and because they said this a lot during Dominion, of like, we went back to the original source material and we drew a lot of inspiration from that. And so a lot of our story points in this final installment are bringing to the screen stuff from that first book that just never really made it. And that's why we brought back Dodson. And it's like, nobody knows who you're talking about. I mean, I do, because I'm a legitimate Jurassic Park authentic wacko. So and Sherston knows. Sherston and I are in a 2-person fan club for the HBO what's the word for it? It just fell out of my head. The drama, what do we call it? Prestige drama that I need to make, the Jurassic Park prestige drama that doesn't have dinosaurs in the first season. There's not a single dinosaur in the first season of my show, and I've talked about it
Excellent.
so many times. It's obnoxious how many times I've talked about it, but it's like, yeah, no. Like the whole first season is like them setting up InGen and all. It's like it's John Hammond like doing
It's
evil
the
stuff
science. It's
before
science.
they even are like, yeah, we've made a
I love it.
dinosaur. It's like
I love it.
the end of the season is Dr. Wu being like, I think I did it. Like
We've
I think we
made
did it.
one.
And like holding up an ostrich egg, and then the season ends. But that's it. But because I'm like we need to actually tell the story of Jurassic Park, which is not a story about dinosaurs. It's a story about unchecked
Hubris.
like it's about billionaire tech idiots doing stupid stuff. But the problem is that Alien Earth beat me to it. Like Alien Earth came
Oh,
out and
there
was like,
is a
it's the
there
best Jurassic Park TV show I could have ever asked for.
but the way that you just described, I haven't heard you talk about your prestige drama, but you just described it and I'm like, there is a show there. I believe you
Oh,
that it's
it's
the tech bros doing
yeah,
what they shouldn't do
yeah,
and causing
yeah,
all the problems.
yeah.
But that's not what happened with K-pop Demon Hunters. It's just
No, but it's
good solid fun.
but the funny thing is that like what I just said, and whenever I talk about wanting to make that, and the reason why Sherston is like, I'm there for you to make that show, is because Sherston knows that like I don't want to make a Jurassic Park show that's gonna appeal to people who like dinosaur movies. I want to make a Jurassic Park show that is about the things that I think that book is about, right?
Yeah.
The two books actually, because it's a lot of like in order to go back that far, you're actually taking a bunch of story elements from Lost World. But it is wanting to tell that story, wanting to make that version of Jurassic Park is me being as like authentic as I can possibly be and going like, I know no one wants to hear this from me anymore. I know that people don't want this show. I know that people, when I say I would make a Jurassic Park show that doesn't have dinosaurs in the first season, people look at me and go, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, how do you have a dinosaur park? And it's like, because the park is 20 years away, guys. Like, you don't even know how long they were working on this stuff. And then, and that's when people like immediately tune out and they don't care anymore, except for the people who get that, like, I'm super passionate about this. And this is a story that like I feel is really important to tell. Like, I think that there's something to say. And I know, Amanda, like this is why we podcasted so well for so long, is because you also get that when I start talking about stuff, you're like, I mean, like, I think oftentimes you roll your eyes and you go, oh, Mike's got another thing to rant about. But it is like, when I'm like, there's a thing here and it's important, and I feel like it's the best way for me to express this to other people
Yeah,
is through this piece of art that I'll never get to make.
It's
So
an
let me
eye
talk about
roll
it on
with
a
affection.
podcast. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I get it.
But I think I think that Maggie Kang was walking around with that in her for a long time before she got to make this movie, right? Because if you sort of listen to her talk about it, it's a very similar thing of like, this was a story that was in her that she needed to tell. And it took forever in order to get it, from this stage to this
All the
stage to
pieces
this
that came
stage.
together. Yeah.
But then when it does all come together, and thank God that it does all come together in the way that it does, right? Because sometimes that's what's motivating it, but it doesn't coalesce, right? Like that's art. That's how it goes. Sometimes you're like, I have so much to say with this, and it just comes out as verbal diarrhea, right? Like it doesn't become a movie. It doesn't end up being any good. It ends up being the worst thing you've ever made. But thank God that everybody else who saw that passion jumped in and lent their talent, and it was all the right people at all the right stages. And like I was talking about with like Arden Cho and Ejae and really if you listen to the stories of like all these people that came together to make this movie, it was so many stories of people being like, like I don't know, man. Like I was trying
We
to
were
do another
done.
thing and
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
happen. But
Yeah.
then this thing came along and it was like K-pop Demon Hunters. That sounds weird. All right, I'm in. And
Yeah.
it's just everybody at key points just being like the right people in the right spot in their, I think, like artistic journeys coming together to make something so so special. It makes me terrified for the sequel, but also like rooting for it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm so hopeful and excited about the potential of more stories with these characters. But also like scared that now the Eye of Sauron is on
Yeah, and
this
now it'll be
this production.
manufactured. They're gonna try to
Yeah.
manufacture authenticity, and you
Netflix
just
is going to have
cannot
a
do
lot to
that.
say and Sony is going to
Yeah.
have a lot to say.
I just
And yeah,
yeah.
but here's the thing. To the Sony executives and the Netflix executives that are listening to this podcast, I know each episode only gets like 100 listeners, but I know that in that 100 listeners there are some of the most important people in Hollywood, which is why I always use it to appeal to them. And obviously it's working because you can see how things are changing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm having an effect, I guess. No, I here's the deal. You guys biffed it because you're focused on the wrong things. Let the creatives tell the creative stories. Get your butts in your seats behind your desk making calls to Hasbro and Mattel making action figures and dolls in time for the thing to come out. Like there's now this thing of like, let's wait and see. We're not going to do it. We're not going to make toys until the thing is a success. And maybe this is just being a kid of the 80s, but I firmly believe make the toys first. Make the story make sense for the toys. It worked for Ninja Turtles. It worked for He-Man. It worked for Transformers. It worked for a lot of stuff. G.I. Joe, like my entire childhood. I got a whole wall to the right of me that is just stuff. I mean, Power Rangers, both in the Super Sentai Japanese side of it, as well as the Power Rangers North American side of it. The toys existed first, and then they were like, "Let's make everything else around this." Yeah, make a cool thing, and then let the creatives write a rad story about it after the fact. I just I saw a thing yesterday. I think it might have been on TikTok of somebody being like when they signed on for K-pop Demon Hunters that they were like, I don't know what this thing is. It sounds like nonsense. K-pop Demon Hunters. It's just a bunch of words stuck together. And I was like, yeah, that's what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sounded like too.
Yeah.
But there is a magic in those words coming together, and K-pop Demon Hunters, same thing. And like, listen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's a musicality to it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? Like
Oh, so great.
it
Yeah.
there's a magic in those words. K-pop Demon Hunters, there's a reason why they didn't change it from the working title. They just
Mhm.
stuck with it. They were just
Mhm.
like, that's it. No, that's it. Because
Mhm.
kids, just tell them what it is.
And
What is
yeah,
this?
and then
It's a
K-pop Demon
Star
Hunters.
War. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars. What's that? Spaceships shooting at spaceships, guys. That's how the movie starts. It's how the movie ends. Like
Yeah.
it's there's just something great about saying exactly what your thing is. Sorry,
And then
what's
being
this guy's
exactly that.
deal? Oh,
Yeah.
he's a Spider-Man. I know everything I need to, right? Like it just, I don't know, don't overthink it. Just make a cool toy and then make a show or a movie or a video game or whatever to sell that cool toy. And you'll have a lot more success than this thing where you guys put out a thing, don't realize it's going to be huge, and then try and put out merch way after the fact, and now nobody cares because these toys are going to hit, and it's going to. K-pop Demon Hunters will not be the moment. And
Yeah.
then they'll learn the totally wrong lesson, which they'll be like, well, I guess we shouldn't make toys for this. And it's like,
Yep.
no, you should have had toys ready to go for when the thing dropped. And but anyways, yeah, I don't know. Just let creative people do their creative thing, and sign checks. Stop acting like you have any creative input. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
Oh, you're gonna make me start lamenting about the state of the world and and consumerism and commercialization. So I'm getting sad now.
the problem is that we grew up at the literal peak of it, right? In the and
Mm.
with the incredible ridiculous privilege of being white kids in Canada. So
Mhm,
even better, like I have come to realize that that's an even more privileged position than being a white American. To be a
mm.
white Canadian that grew up in the 80s and 90s, it's like, oh my god, like it was even better here. Like we got all of your media and very few of your problems. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
just it's
yeah.
such a privileged position,
Different.
but we got to experience the absolute zenith of um corporate run, synergistic marketing campaign driven media conglomerate productions. And it's really hard to live in a world where it doesn't operate that way anymore,
It's
where
so
it's
funny to me because I understand what you're saying, but it sounds like the antithesis of everything that we already said
mhm, mhm,
works
mhm.
and that we like. And it's just, anyway, sorry,
it
carry on, but
it's
it's like,
it's
it's just so
yeah,
different. It's
it's
different.
not though, right? Because what was
Yeah.
happening in the 80s and the 90s is that there were these companies that were like, we can make money off of these toys, but we need a thing to sell them, right? And
Oh, it's the difference between, oh, I understand. The tactile thing being sold to us and the ethos behind it coming in story form. And now
yeah,
it's all trying to manufacture story as the thing that we buy and
it
the tactile to be an afterthought.
yeah,
And it changes the way that our brain interacts and understands the story.
it it
Sorry, that's
it
our way. I don't know.
you
Something.
they had the product already, right? Like they had the physical thing already. They just needed a way to get us to care about it.
Yeah.
And they didn't concern themselves with that part of it. They went, the thing to do is to produce a 22-minute cartoon show, and then every week these kids tune in, they become attached to these characters, and then they want to own Optimus Prime, right? Like, and that's it. And so you end up with some of the best writers in genre storytelling. Like, you got J. Michael Straczynski writing Ghostbusters cartoons, and those Ghostbusters cartoons, those episodes are incredible. Like, there's some really really great writing in there that, like, and this is not, I'm not being like facetious or ironic at all. There are some really really well written episodes of the real Ghostbusters, and there are some really well written episodes of Transformers, and even like GI Joe has some really interesting environmentalist stuff going on in the first two seasons of that show, that like Cobra stealing a weather machine, and it's like there's stuff going on in there that, because these guys, nobody was paying attention, nobody was checking in on them, that they were like, I don't know, why don't we just write something really good? No one cares, no one's paying attention, we might as well do something good. And they did, right? And they came up
Yeah.
with like just crazy ideas, or were handed crazy ideas. It's like, well, the toy designers came up with this character, his name is Fistor, can you work him into He-Man somehow? And they go, yeah, he's got a big fist, that'll be important in some way. We'll come up with some reason that Skeletor needs to get this thing, and the only thing that's going to stop him, this new guy that's hanging out with He-Man, he's got a really big fist. And it's like, and they had to solve that problem, right? And that sort of like creative challenge, I think, ended up leading to a lot of really really cool stuff and really fun stuff that captured imaginations, right? It's not, I'm not talking about like, nobody's like writing War and Peace or something like that, right? But there was, it's, we're talking about authenticity, right? Like that's what we're getting at here. And I think when you go back to that stuff, you go back to, and not just the boy stuff which I just mentioned all of, but even like, I don't know, like Strawberry Shortcake or whatever, it's like there was nothing, these were dolls, These were some dolls. She's a strawberry. And why do they exist? Because we can make these dolls smell like fruit. That's what we can make them smell like, right? So make the dolls look like fruit. There's a strawberry one, and there's an orange one, and there's a cherry one. And then somebody had to go, who are these kids? Why do they exist?
Yeah.
What does that pony mark on that pony actually mean? How does a horseshoe being on that one make it different from that one that has a rainbow? Same shape. What makes them different? Well, that one's all about good luck, and that one's about, happiness and wish fulfillment, right? And it's like, and so you got to now start like solving these problems and coming up with, okay, and now these characters have to interact with each other. We need a bad guy, and like it just, I look at that and I go like, that's a much better way to do it. That's a more authentic way to get to stuff. And it's really just about leaving the executives out of it, right? Like, stop. I don't think that Bob Iger has any business telling Kathleen Kennedy what she should or shouldn't be doing with Star Wars. Right? Kathleen Kennedy is a producer that like has proven that her input on set is invaluable, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark isn't the movie that it is without her on set as Steven Spielberg's assistant. And her career just builds from there. Jurassic Park doesn't exist without her. A million things that we love don't exist without Kathleen Kennedy. But Bob Iger is a business guy, and he should be sitting behind a desk signing checks. That's what he should be doing, and going like, how do like what's the key to leadership, right? I do think that he is good at that stuff. I think that like he came back from having retired and was like, I got to fix things, and walked into the kitchen when what he needed to do was stay in the office and not worry, and like, just make sure that the kitchen had what they needed. And it's not just him, it's Zaslav at Warner Brothers Discovery, right? Like, it's all of these executives going like, oh, we got to fix this, we got to right the ship, and it's like, the problem is actually you guys. That's what it is. That's what the problem is. You guys keep getting in and mucking up these stories. Like, leave Kevin Feige alone, leave Kathleen Kennedy alone, let them run their studios with their creatives. They know what they're doing. They're actually very good at it. They've proven that they are. But it's almost like being this is the worry with K-pop Demon Hunters, is being sort of the victim of your own success. Is that Eye of Sauron thing. It's like, well, now that you are a massive success, all eyes are on you. So not only is there this incredible pressure, but now people have opinions.
Yeah.
Right? Now people think they know what's going to make your sequel successful, when what they should do is they should recognize you did that thing. Here's your shot to do another one. Right? And it's not always going to pan out, because sometimes like sophomore slump is a real thing, and you're not going to hit it out of the park at your second at bat. But I think more often than not, if you just kind of let it happen, it does. It will happen. But it's when executives get in there and start mucking with it, that you end up with trash. You end up with Marvel being in the slump that it's been in for the last 5 years, right? And it's because Endgame was the biggest movie of all time. Like people don't want to say that that's what that movie is, but that movie is honestly, I think, the biggest movie that we'll ever see in our lifetimes. I don't think that it'll ever hit that peak again, because it happened, and then the media landscape imploded. And so the environment that led to that movie being as big as it was doesn't exist anymore. And I think that like the conversation that we're having off of K-pop Demon Hunters is exactly like the lesson to learn from that, which is like that era is done. Like the asteroid hit the earth, the dinosaurs are dead. Like, stop trying to make them a thing again. It's a completely different ecosystem, and that ecosystem is the one where K-pop Demon Hunters is the biggest thing. So don't think about making another K-pop Demon Hunters. Think about making another environment that will lead to another K-pop Demon Hunters, right? Like it's about just creating the right scenario for somebody to tell a story that resonates with a lot of people.
Mhm.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what this movie did. We didn't even really talk that much about the specifics
I
of
was
the
gonna say
movie,
we didn't. It's very par for the course for us
but
podcasting. I feel
it's
like we talked around it.
yeah. But I think there are a lot of podcasts that you can go and you can listen to where people will do like a breakdown and a dissection of why K-pop Demon Hunters specifically works and why it resonates. And do that, right? Like go listen to those people talk about it. For me, the thing that is the most interesting about it to talk about is what we've talked about, which is this sort of like sea change in the industry that
Mhm.
because I think Amanda, you and I sit in a funny spot. We did this all throughout Quiver of like we have enough experience and knowledge with the industry to understand, enough of the executive side of it and to understand enough of the creative side of it to be able to like sit back, watch and go, this is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think
Yeah.
like if you're a creative that's just a creative that's fully ensconced in that part of the process, I think that like you're kind of adversarial towards the executive side, and so you're going to fail
Mm.
to see a lot of what's going on there. And then I think on the flip side of that, if you're an executive, you have way too much power and you're so out of touch that you just can't comprehend. You're too high up. You're looking down on everything from 10,000 feet and it just looks like ants. So how are you ever going to interpret that? You're not, right? um
Mm.
but I think like you and I sit in a funny spot of being able to like kind of see both sides of it for what they are and then have a conversation about it and go, this is what's actually happening in media. If only people would
Yeah.
listen to us. But it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything specifically about K-pop Demon Hunters that you want to talk about that we haven't
What
talked about?
I don't know. I'm sure because then it would get me just talking more about the minutia, and I think that it's not about the minutia, it's about the impact of it.
Yeah.
Because there's great stuff. I mean, I think that there's a lot of comedy that they really hit on and a lot of
Mm.
really just this the trio themselves and the way that they interact, and I just think that it was just really, really fun. So no, there's nothing specific, just, you know, it's great. What a good time. I'm so glad that we could talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is like it was kind of the moment, right? Like it like that's what it was last summer.
Yeah.
And now that we're sort of on the flip side of that year, looking back at it in hindsight, it's like, why was it the moment, right? Like, and
Mhm,
I think
mhm,
that's where
mhm.
I'm at with it right now, is looking at it and going like, why is it? And then trying to look and go like, what do we think is going to be the next thing? Because I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it's not going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu. It's
Aw,
also
yeah.
not going to be Avengers Doomsday. And like,
Mm.
I'm looking forward to both of those things. I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff this year. There's a lot of really cool movies coming out this year. But I don't know, it just kind of goes back into this thing that I always say. Oh, this was a thing that I discovered when we were doing Frontlines, the Clone Wars podcast, and at the end of the season, we would do a roundtable, and I'd have Matt and Kyle and Tim and we get Jason in there sometimes, and we do these roundtable conversations and go like, this season did this and that was cool and I really like this moment, and then we would get to the point where we would go like, what do you want to see next season, right? And my answer would always be like, I just want to be surprised. Like, I just
Yeah.
want something to come out.
Yeah.
I just want them to do something that I do not see coming. Not like, oh, that story thing. It's like, no, like what weird thing did somebody go, what if this was an episode, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what K-pop Demon Hunters is, and that's why I think it ends up being so special. And like Predator Badlands fit into this as well, because it was like, what if we made a Predator movie where the Predator was actually the hero of the story? And that's where that starts, and it's a cool idea that Dan Trachtenberg then takes to all the way to the finish line. You get to watch that movie and go like, oh, that's a totally different perspective, and I'm totally here for it. And I love what you took from that, what was basically a horror action franchise, and you made it into a 80s dark fantasy. Like it's crazy, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And K-pop Demon Hunters did the same thing, where it was like, what if we made like kind of like, it's kind of like Sailor Moon, but like they're the Spice Girls. Right? Like that's
Oh my
using
God, I love that. Yes.
I'm using like sort of our American pop. Sailor Moon is Japanese, obviously, but right, like I'm using sort of like our cultural touchstones in order to make that analogy. But that is what it is, right? It's like, oh, they took this girl band and made them into superheroes and fight demons, and the songs are great, and that's sort of like, that's just it. But then at the core of it is like, but what if it was actually about like accepting yourself as you are and being true to that, and the battle that we have with our inner demons, because we have outer demons that we're fighting. But like, what if kissing a demon made you think about your own demons? Right? Like,
I love that. Oh my gosh.
it's yeah, and that's what makes it new and exciting and fun, even though, as I said at the beginning, this is really just The Last Jedi with catchy pop music. But it's just saying that like the tropes that are in it of the like enemies to lovers, and the like, join me on the dark side, no, join me on the light side, and then them kind of being like, what if we just kind of met in the middle and said screw it to everybody else? Yeah, because that's how that third movie should have gone. Right. And I think, like, for me, there was a very big component, I know that this is true for a lot of Star Wars fans, especially a lot of Reylos, is that the wound that was made by Rise of Skywalker was healed by K-pop Demon Hunters very specifically.
Interesting. Okay.
And so like I know for me, like, that's a very big component of it, is that like I was watching this movie going like, they are Rey and Kylo Ren. Like, that's who they are. That's who those characters are. I like, to a T. The tropes are identical tropes.
Yeah.
And it just Star Wars has failed to fix that thus far. So Huntrix and the Saja boys coming along and doing that. I mean, like, literally, like, listen, he was this kid that was manipulated by a dark force to do evil stuff, kind of became evil, and then has this group of dudes that are kind of generic and don't really have anything to contribute, but they certainly look good standing behind him. And then all of their evil plans are undone because a cute girl with interesting hair and a darkness of her own showed up and was like, hey, what if we kissed?
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's the same thing. It's the same story. That's the exact same story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like K-pop Demon Hunters.
I mean, that's good. I'm glad that we're talking about it.
Cool. I mean, I think that's it. I think we did it.
I think we did it.
I think
we talked about a lot of stuff. I think so.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. This is par for the course, right? Because if you go back and you listen to our John Carter episode, we really didn't talk very much about the movie itself.
John Carter. I'm sorry. We always just talk around it.
Yeah. Star Wars, we did the same thing. We really didn't talk about Star Wars that much. I mean, we talked about Star Wars, but we didn't talk about A New Hope very much in that episode. And listen, you get what you pay for, people. It is a free podcast for most of you. And for those of you who pay for it,
apologies.
Well, no, I did. You guys knew what you were getting into. Like, this is actually what you want. Yeah,
this is what you want. We're delivering as advertised.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was fun. Tune into the next episode, which is going to be Predator Badlands with Missy, and Missy will come like prepared with notes and like all of these things that she wants to like impart about the fairy tale connections to Predator Badlands and all of that.
I get it. Some of your podcast co-hosts are better than other podcast co-hosts, and don't just show up and ask what we're talking about.
No, I mean, like, that's just to say that like Perfect 10 runs the full gamut, because
there you go. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, like, on the last one, Danny and I, we just talked about Muppets for an hour, and
nice.
I don't know, we kind of just talked about Christmas movies in general, and the Muppets in general, and so I don't know, it is what it is.
Whatever works.
Enjoy.
Works.
I don't know. Listen, nobody's listening except for the core people who listen to every episode anyways. So I always act like that. Oh, but what about the new listeners? There are no new listeners. There are too many podcasts. Everybody is just drowning in podcasts that they're behind on. And so nobody's picking new stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for listening.
You're here for a long time, not a good time. I don't know, something like that.
That is very true. Considering this is technically like our 11-year anniversary podcast episode and that's just 11 years of Thunderquack. I've been podcasting for longer than that. But 11 years of Thunderquack. But thank you guys for listening to Thunderquack Perfect 10. You can join the conversation on our Discord server. Tell me about how terrible this episode was or how great it was over at thunderquack.com/Discord. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast service and leave a rating and review and share it with a friend. I'm sure that there's somebody out there who's like, man, I really wish that there was a podcast about K-pop Demon Hunters that talked generally about the state of Hollywood for an hour and a half. And this is it. This is that episode. So definitely send it to that person, and help us find them. Because we deserve each other, I think is what it is. But until next time, remember, it's not about the score. It's about the love. Stay frosty. Thunderquack Perfect 10 is hosted by me, Michael Cohen. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TQPerfect10 and join the community at thunderquack.com/Discord. This podcast is supported by listeners just like you over at patreon.com/Thunderquack. Head over there to get early access to episodes, exclusive podcasts, and more. This show is a part of the Thunderquack Podcast Network. Head over to thunderquack.com for more great shows. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.